everyone. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter for today's webinar. Today we're going to be looking at how to use the mass edit feature in our program. It's one of those really powerful tools that we have that not a lot of people are aware of. And it's also one of the tools you don't want everybody to have access to. So we're going to go over a couple cautions with using mass edit, how to set it up so only certain people or certain logins can actually use the mass edit feature. And then we're also going to talk about how to perform it and then also how to undo it in case you find that you have done a mass edit to something that you really didn't want to mass edit. So we're going to go over how to fix that as well. Now, before we jump in, I do want to point out we're going to be on version 19.16.2 for today. That is our most current version of Church Windows. So if when you open the program you don't see that version, you see something older, you can always head out to our website at churchwindows.com and get up to date, download our current updates that way. Also, Kellyanne is listening in with me today. She's going to answer questions. So if you do have any questions regarding something I go over, feel free to type in your question in the questions section on your GoToWebinar toolbar, and Kellyanne will do her best to get an answer for you. I'll also go over questions at the end. Now, we do have over 100 people registered for today, so keep in mind that if a lot of you are answering questions, there's just 2 of us, we will do our best to get to you as quick as we can. But if you find that you have a question that's a little off topic or very specific to your set of data, that's going to be best answered with a call or an email into us. So if it's pretty specific, just shoot us an email to support@churchwindows.com or go ahead and give us a call after the webinar, and we would be able to best answer your questions that way. But if you have any basic general questions, please type those in and we will get them answered. Okay? So first thing I want to explain or go over is how the mass edit works or what its purpose is. So mass edit allows you to go into the grid in membership and make changes to a lot of people with just a couple clicks. It also allows you to go in and input data on people who might have a blank field. Now keep in mind you don't want to mass edit a field like email or any type of phone number fields because those are specific to each person. So you're not going to have 20 people that have the same email. But you would want to use this for like school grade, which is the example we're going to go over today, or maybe status. Those fields that you have a lot of people that share the same type of information, their same code. This allows you to go in and update a lot of people at once. Now keep in mind when doing a mass edit, it has to be done in just members or just visitors. So there's not a way to do a mass edit and make a change to both members and visitors when you open up the membership module. So if you need to make an update to everybody in membership, you need to do 2 mass edits. You'd actually need to do one in membership members and membership visitors. Okay, so my 2 cautions before we get started. One actually has to do with your security setup. So if you go into administration and you come right in here to security, you are going to have a place to allow people to do mass edits or not. So if we go over here to the membership tab in security, there is a place here, a little checkbox, to allow this person to do a mass edit. So if you don't want someone to do a mass edit, you would remove the check mark in this box, okay? So I would be very cautious with who you allow to get in here and make mass edit changes, because this is going to change a lot of people's records. So just make sure whomever does have this box checked totally understands how mass edit works and how it can be a great tool, but if used incorrectly, it can also be a huge hindrance, okay? So that is where you would go into security. Now, let me cancel this. And I want to show you one more thing as well. There's a nice feature that the programmers put in here that your program will actually make a backup before you do a mass edit. So to get to that setting, to make sure that's turned on, you want to go into membership and you want to go in here to special functions, and then we're going to click on settings right here. So by going into settings, you want to make sure that you have a check mark in this box. This is another safety feature that we've put in. So as long as that box has that check mark, when you go in to do a mass edit, the program is automatically going to make a backup for you. Okay? And then if you decide, whoops, I didn't want to do that, it'll allow you to restore and get back to your current point before you did the mass edit. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, it also doesn't hurt to go in and make your own backup as well. We would never tell you not to do a backup. It doesn't hurt to have too many. So you can always go in and make your own backup, put it on a flash drive if you wish, as another layer of protection. Okay? So the first example that we are going to go over has to do with those kids that are going to kindergarten. So say we need to go in and we need to pick out kids of a certain age range, so they have a birth date in a certain range, and then we're going to go in and mass assign a letter K for kindergarten in the school grade field. Okay? So to do that, we're looking at 5-year-olds. So we're going to go into membership members. Now keep in mind, if you need to do this to your visitors, it's going to be this whole process repeated by going into the visitor file. So you'd have to do it twice. But today we're just going to focus on members. And we need to do a find and pull up our 5-year-olds on the grid. So I'm going to go ahead and hit find here up at the top with the little binoculars. And I am coming down to the birth date field. So I went ahead and figured out what birth date range I need to pull to get my 5-year-olds. So that's going to be 9/1/2011 to 6/3/2012. Okay, so these are going to be my kiddos that could be going to kindergarten. So I have my birth date range. I can either hit enter or go, and then my grid is going to pop up. So I have 4. If you see up here at the top left, I have 4 records that meet that birth date criteria. So these are kids that all have a possibility of going into kindergarten. Okay? Now let's clean up our view of the grid here a little bit, because I don't need to see all of this information. So to pick what columns are going to print or appear here on my grid, I'm going to come up here to the top left, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Options. So whatever is over here on this right-hand side, these are the fields that are displaying on my grid in the background. So I just want last name, first name, birth date, and school grade, just to make it a little easier to see this screen. I'm going to hit delete all and get rid of everything. And then I'm going to come back over here to the bottom left, and I'm going to look for last name. Just double click it or highlight it, click add, and it'll pop back over here on the right. I'm going to go to first name. I'm going to go to birth date. And then I'm going to go down to school grade. Okay, so these are the 4 fields that these are the only 4 fields that I need to do my mass edit, okay? So last name, first name, birth date, school grade. This is all I want. So now I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to set up or do my mass edit to get my school grade of K's inputted here. Now, for this example, we just have 4. If you're a large church, you might have 50. So just keep in mind this list, how many kids you get back could definitely change depending on how big your organization is. Now, with that being said, if all of my kids need to have K or kindergarten in their school grade, I don't have to go through and select everyone. Now, if I only have, say, 3 kids that need to go, I would need to go through and pick multiple kids. So just select in yellow the kids that need the mass edit done or that need the Ks. So for example, I can hold down my shift key, highlight the top one, select the last one, that'll pick everything in between, or I could do my control button and click random ones if that's what we need. Okay, but for this example, we're going to say all 4 of these kiddos are going to kindergarten. We need to give them all a K. So I'm not going to select any of them. And I'm just going to come up here, top right. Let me grab my highlighter so you can see where I'm going. And I'm going to choose that mass edit button. Then you're going to see this screen. Okay, so this screen is where you plug in what you're going to update with your mass edit. So what field are we needing to change with our mass edit? That field is school grade. We're going to go ahead and select that from the list. Search text. Now we aren't going to put anything in the search text box because everybody's is blank. And then we're going to come down to this replace with box and we're going to put a K. All right, because that is the letter for kindergarten for school grade. All right. Now for this specific mass edit, we don't need to select anything down here, and we're simply going to hit go. And that's going to tell us replace, or ask us, I should say, replace all records with K. Yes, please. We're going to hit yes. And then it's going to tell us 4 records change. They will appear selected on the grid. Click cancel to undo. So if you get to this point and you realize, uh-oh, I didn't mean to do this, you have the option to hit cancel. If this is what you want to hit OK. And as you can see here now, as it said, everyone is selected, and now all of those kids have a school grade of K for kindergarten. Okay? So at this point, you can just hit close. Now you have another undo button here. If you decide, or once you see it on the screen, you say, oh no, this isn't what I want, or oh, I grabbed the wrong kid, or I need to get back to my starting point. You can always come down here and hit this restore button, and it'll take you back to that backup that was made right before the mass edit was done. Okay? So you can definitely come in and hit this restore button to undo the mass edit that you have just done, if you need to. If you don't need to and you're happy with what happened, then you're just going to hit close, and it's going to sync your database, and then you're going to have all of your kiddos with a K now for kindergarten. Okay? So that's how you do a mass edit to update a blank field to give it whatever information you require for those kids. Okay? Now we're going to go and we're going to talk about changing a field with a mass edit. Let me close this, and we're going to go back in here to members. Now the example in the book that I'm going over talks about updating the health record field. So let me grab my highlighter, show you where that is. Health record. So in this example, we're going to work with Sunday school kids. And with those Sunday school kids, let's say they take field trips or do outreach, go do community service in the area, and we need to have a form from the parents. We need to have a health record form submitted from the parents in case of an emergency. So this is that field where we actually keep track of who hasn't turned one in, who has turned one in, or whose is expired and we need a new one from. So we actually have 3 fields: current, expired, or not provided. So what we're going to do is a search on those kids that have an expired health record or a not provided health record, and we're going to go in and update from a 2 or a 3 to a 1. So say the parents come back, they return all the updated health records. Now we need to go in and update the children's records here in the program. Okay? So we're going to do a find, hitting our little binoculars again. we're going to come down to this health record field, and we're actually going to search for code 2 through 3. So that is going to be the expired or not provided. So we're going to do 2 through 3, and we're going to hit go or enter. And this is going to then pull up all our kiddos that have a health record that hasn't been provided or that's expired. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing here we did before, where we're going to change this view of our grid. Okay, so we're going to go to Options. And we're going to delete all these fields. I just have 3 that I want. I actually want to see the health record field, so I'm going to double click that so it appears on my grid. I'm going to see last name, and then I also need to see first name. You could also add the address field if you wanted, to kind of make sure you have the right kid selected, or even phone number if you wanted, you can do that. But then once I have my field selected, I'm going to hit OK. Then as you can see now, my view has changed. It's only showing me the health record codes and their last name and their first name. So from here, we're going to have to do this in 2 sets. We're going to do all of our 2 health records. We're going to update them to 1 for current, and then we're going to go through and do our 3 health records and update that from a not provided to a current. Okay. So let's start by first selecting our 2s. So let's say I'm holding down control here. Let's say all of our 2s turned in a current health record except for Miss Donna Spring. Let's say Donna Spring didn't give us her health record back, so we aren't going to change her field. We're going to leave her as a 2. So just the ones we've highlighted are the ones that we need to change. So same thing, back up here to Mass Edit up in the top left. We're choosing our health record field because that's the one we want to mass edit. Search text. Now we didn't have to put this in before because it was blank, but this time there is something in the health record field, so we do need to select 2. And we need to replace it with a 1, which is current, because these are the kids who've turned in a current or an updated health record. And then there's another box down at the bottom that's very important that we select. We need to put a check mark in that box that says Selected Records Only. Okay, so we're only changing these 4. We don't want to change Donna because Donna didn't turn it in. So make sure you check that box of Select Records Only. And then we're going to hit Go. And it's going to ask us, replace 2 with 1, which is what we want. So we're going to say yes. If it wasn't, you can easily hit no. And now it's going to tell us 4 records change. They will appear selected on the grid. Click cancel to undo. That's not what we want. We could hit cancel, but it is, so we're going to hit OK. And now you can see back in the screen behind us, all of the 2s we highlighted are now 1s for current. Right? And there it goes, sync in the database. And that is how you handle updating your 2s to your 1s. Now we're going to go through and we're going to do our 3s to 1s. So holding down control, you can pick who you want. In this case, we're going to pick all of our 3s. We're going to come up to Mass Edit. Field we're selecting is Health Record. Search text is going to be 3. Replace with, we're going with 1. Once again, we're checking Selected Records Only, and we're hitting Go. Okay. Replace 3s with 1s. We're going to say yes. It tells us that 6 records were changed. You can click cancel if it's not what you want. We say OK, and now we see all of our 3s have changed to 1s. And then you just close. And there it goes, syncing your database. Okay, so that is how you go in and you do a mass edit. I do want to show you one more thing on how to restore. So say you do this and you find this isn't actually what you wanted. you can go back up here into Mass Edit, and this restore function is still going to be available. So you can hit your restore, and it's going to ask you, if you proceed, a backup will be restored. And then it's going to go ahead and give you the date and the time of the backup. And then it's going to give you a message. All membership data in both member and visitor files entered since then will be lost. So you make sure you look at this date before you proceed. And if you do decide, since this was just a couple minutes ago, we are going to say yes. And as you can see, it takes us back to what was selected for those 3s that went to a 1. Okay? So that is all I have on Mass Edit. We are right at the 20-minute mark, so let me see if we have any questions coming in here. If you have questions, please feel free to type those in, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. But Mass Edit, folks, it's pretty slick. It's just very powerful. So you need to make sure you have the right people, or the people that understand how it works, in there making the changes. But we'll sit with you here for another minute. If you have questions, type them in. If not, feel free to go ahead and leave. All right, folks, doesn't look like anybody has any questions. I'm going to go ahead and close up the webinar. I hope you learned something today that you can take with you and use at your job to make life a little bit easier. If you do find that you have a question coming in after the webinar has closed, please call or email us at support@churchwindows.com, and we will be happy to help you then. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.